Hi, I'm Whittaker. I'm here today to speak to you about the transition in the golf swing. Now, the transition in the golf swing is the slowest part of the golf swing and often the most overlooked by a lot of people. It's the part where the difference between the backswing and the downswing begins. It's the crossover, it's the change of pace in the golf swing that will then start to determine what is happening on the way down. You know, how the club is going to be able to be delivered to the ball. Now, we have two distinct rules of thought from people. One is that people are trying to make a big lateral move into the golf ball, and the other is that people are trying to unwind from the top. Now, I believe that there's been a lot of conflicting advice out there, and people who are trying to promote a rotational golf swing where they are using the pivot to drive the arms and the club and drive the downswing aren't adding sufficient lateral motion to their downswing. Now, if you come from a golf swing that has been dominated by your lateral moves, you've maybe had a wide stance and you've been promoted by a Jimmy Ballard type move which has had this lateral slide, or you've had a golf swing that's been very similar to the likes of Greg Norman or Nick Price and been very leg driven, it will feel to you like you are just getting it to the top, winding up and unwinding. But the problem is, a lot of people are getting it to the top of the backswing here and then unwinding from the top and finding that the hip socket ends up behind the front foot, so it's a spin out. Now what you've got to make sure is that you get over the front foot in order to be able to get around it to the finish. So in effect, you've got to get over the front pivot point, then unwind around it. Now, this then moves into what is happening in the backswing. So if you've got a backswing where you have pivoted correctly and the left hip has not slid off the line it started on, then your lateral move will take you over the front pivot point very quickly. So you will hit a physical limit with how far forwards you can get at this point. From there, you'll be able to unwind naturally very quickly as the weight moves into the heel. If you've slid off it, you're going to keep driving. You have such a big lateral move to make to be able to get over the front pivot point that you're in effect never going to be able to get yourself to the position of being able to unwind correctly. So the unwind will happen as part of the move and part of the transition when you've got over the left pivot point to the physical limit right here. If you are trying to unwind straight from the top, you tend to find that the hip ends up behind the ankle here and you will end up in the left heel too quickly with the toe up in the air. Sometimes people are ending up trying to unwind so much from the top that they're having to work up from the ground on their toes in order to make some room for the club to be able to square up. This then involves a pivot stall to allow the arms to catch back up and fire to get back in front of the body. When the hips and the lower half's been unwound so quickly and the torso's gone, the arms are stuck back, so the arms are having to fire through. Now, the transition from the top here involves the left knee, the left hip and the left shoulder moving away from the centre point being the chin. Now, the left hip will end up further forwards than the knee at this point. Okay? The head will have stayed still, so this is then promoted a secondary axis tilt. Your primary axis is the spine you've wound up on. The secondary axis has been created by the hips moving forward, the head staying still, so the spine angle or axis has increased. You can see now how the right foot's beginning to roll over and the left foot is also beginning to roll. So the weight's over the outside of the left foot and on the inside of the right foot. From here I cannot go any further forwards and I can feel some pull on the outer part of my left hip here where the IT band connects to the hip socket. From here I will naturally unwind and my right shoulder will be down low. What we will find is as we transition, the club slides in. So as the transition occurs, the club slides down. The head stays still, yet there's insufficient lateral motion to get myself over the front pivot point and slide the arms and the club into position in front of my body. It has allowed the left shoulder to re-rotate towards the target and the arms in front of the body. From here I'll be unwinding and the right elbow will be staying on the right hip and both feet have rolled over. My right side is behind the blow at impact. Now, what we will also find is that people who are unwinding a lot from the top are essentially tipping the shaft too far forward, because as they're rotating, they're getting too steep. So a lot of people I've come across who are trying to unwind so much tend to struggle with a few shanks, and that's because they're trying so hard to unwind from the top here that they're throwing the mass out to the ball. Now, the lateral move, which is contained within inside the pivot, and when we own it, will feel like a wind up, and will feel like a turn and a turn. We know there's got to be enough lateral motion to get ourselves over that left side. That is noticeable with what the feet are doing. So when we have a look at the footwork, how they are rolling, that tells us what is happening as well in regards to the midsection in that transition. The rotation element of this downswing is happening once I hit my physical limit here. I unwind around, which tips the shaft and the head out towards the ball and allows the face to square up. What else it does is, once I've got this on, the lateral move has allowed me to have the space of my arms in front of my body. I then unwound around, which has pulled the upper left arm into the side of the ribs, therefore squared the blade up. Now, it can feel to people like a re-rotation of the hips, the knee and the shoulders towards the target. To some others it will feel like a drive. If you've been spinning out, this will feel like a big lateral move to you. If you've been sliding from foot to foot, this will feel like a wind up and an unwind. But there has to be that lateral move, slight, to give the chance for the arms and the club to slide into position and then the unwind to happen. It will all be contained within the pivot, but it has to allow the arms to get in front here. So people who I see a lot saying that they feel that the golf swing should be just 2 turns are missing out on some elements because they're not able to deliver the golf club with enough force here, therefore creating enough forward shaft lean. Now, we can see that when the left hip is forwards and over the front ankle, and we wind up and the body stays there, how I know when I make my transition, very quickly I'm over the front pivot point, and then I go around it to the finish. At the finish you will notice that the stomach and the bottom of the belt loops here are closer to the target than the head. This is actually a posted up and down finish. Generally when someone's spun out a bit, the hips will be back a little bit and the upper body will be further forwards. So this is, the upper body's gone forwards to counteract the fact that the hips have gone backwards to give some balance to the finishing position. When the hips have gone forwards sufficiently and then around, this gives the posted up finish and allows this belt buckle to be closer to the target. A feet together drill is a great way for people to be able to feel a wind up and an unwind when they've got too much lateral motion. But if you're spinning out, that's not a very good drill for you. But it is a great drill for the right person. For a lot of people who are struggling to get the transition correct, a pumping downswing move can be great, where you're taking it to the top and you're pumping and feeling the downswing, making sure the head stays still, right shoulder's able to slide in, left shoulder's breaking away from the chin, and then unwinding through to the finish whilst staying very centred. What this allows is that at impact, the hands, the arms, the body and the club, the hips and the shoulders are all coming through at one. So in effect, the impact area becomes very, very synchronised. So everything is able to work through together. It's still very pivot driven, but as opposed to firing the torso out the way and being stuck underneath it, everything is moving through together. This then allows the club to work around with the body, and everything is working in one unit. We know that when we have a look at what Hunter Mahan said he's been working at, he's been feeling like he's been leaning into the shot. Well, we know that he had come from a transition that had been very spinny and firing the foot upwards this way. So to him it's going to feel like he's leaning on the shot because he's coming from the camp that's been spinning out of it. Consequently, when Nick Price was changing his downswing, he felt like he just wound up and unwound, but he was coming from the camp that was sliding too much. They're both trying to get to the same end goal of delivering the arm, the body, the club, all through impact together, firing this way. Now, hope you've enjoyed this video. If you'd like to hear more from me, you can visit my website, which is danwhitakergolf.com, or contact me at dan@danwhitakergolf.com. Thanks a lot.